This is how you change the oil on a 2018 Dodge Grand Caravan GT. So first things first, you want to back your car out of the driveway and get onto some level ground. My wife's shorter than me, so I always have to adjust the seat when I get in there, but it's all good. So you hop in, you get ready to back it out of your driveway, and you're gonna notice that you're gonna get a signal light on the car that tells you it's time for an oil change. No big deal, it just calculates the mileage. I have almost 107,000 miles on this van. As long as you keep it up, it should run for a very long time. But anyway, what you're gonna need is a funnel, an oil pan, a wrench, 5 quarts of 5W20, a 1025 air filter, CH1145 fuel filter, and an extra quart of oil. I use Marvel's Mystery Oil. You're also going to need a 15/16 socket for the oil filter itself. You'll need some rhino ramps or some kind of a jack tool to get your car up and so that you can get to the oil plug. And for me, because this is the only level ground I can have or I can find, I usually set cones around my car for safety purposes. I have had my car ran into just parked there, so the cones kind of help. So now that you have a safe work location on level ground and you jacked up the front of the car so you can access the oil plug underneath, you're ready to rock. First things first, you got to pop that hood. So go ahead and open up your car, pull the hood lever, which is right above the emergency brake, and that'll go ahead and get you access to the hood. Um, and again, it's not super hard to do if you just follow instructions. I've been doing this since I was about 11 years old on various cars, just changing oil. Luckily, I don't have to do it on my Tesla, but you know, this is the people mover. So yeah, latch your hood and get access to looking at what's under the hood, which is the engine, and familiarize yourself with the area you're working with. The oil cap is, or the oil filter is right there on these newer cars, right next to the engine, but it's hard to access because your engine air filter hose is right on top of it. Even with an extension, you can't really get at it. So we're gonna have to go ahead and make room to get at it. And so we're gonna do that by basically just opening up the engine air intake. So there's really only 3 latches, one in the front, one on the right side, one on the left side, and there's a hook on the back that it hooks into. So it's pretty simple to open up and move around. So now that you can see, you got some area to work with just basically by moving it out the way. And since we're under there, we'll go ahead and replace that air filter because we haven't replaced it in about 30,000 miles. So we take our 1025 filter, get it out the box and see how it's all nice and new and stuff, and the old one we'll just go ahead and pull that out and scrap that. So this is an optional step, but you don't need to do it all the time. I just do it because if I'm under there and it's dirty like this, then I can just easily replace it. You know, it's not that big a deal. It was not too expensive at Walmart. But yeah, I just go ahead and plug that back in there. You know the rules, and so do I. Yeah, we get that in there real quick. You know, it sits in there the same way you took it out. There's a little ridge that it kind of sits on. But yeah, once you get it in there nice and flush, you're gonna leave that off. Don't clamp it back yet because you're gonna need room to work on that air filter, oil filter. And then again in the back, those are the little hooks that hold it in. So now that you have it off and out of the way, you can finally get at that little filter thing with your 15/16 and your socket wrench. I don't need any extensions for this, but you only get a little bit of room to kind of work with in there. So go ahead and get your wrench on there and just loosen the oil filter cap until you can get it out by hand. So usually after a couple clicks, it's loose enough to spin with my hands, so I'll get in there. And again, working in cars, it's best to have gloves. Otherwise, you're gonna lose some skin. You might bleed. You might get scratched up. But me, you know, I'm a savage about it, so I'm gonna just get in there. But yeah, as you can see, it spins off nice. Be very gingerly pulling it out because you haven't drained the oil yet and there's still oil in there. Some people drain their oil first. I do all my up top work and come back to it. It doesn't matter really. You know, pull that dirty thing out, put it in your pan. You know, get the new one nice and prepped and ready. And the Fram CH11665 is going to come with a gasket and the filter. And these ones go for much more than 3,000 miles. I think they go for like 5 or 6,000 miles. But what you're going to do is make sure you notice that there's a gasket on there, and you're going to want to replace that gasket, and it's at the top of the cap. And the filter itself, it just snaps into the back, so you, with a little bit of force, you can just pop it out. But yeah, there's the gasket, and there's the filter. So when you get it out of the cap, take the old gasket off, the old filter, put it in a box, and then save it to be picked up with your used engine oil wherever you're allowed to recycle it at. We have curbside pickup where I live. And then push the filter in and put that new gasket on and make sure that gasket is on there tight. So the filter itself clicks into the cap and the gasket goes on the cap. And then you just twist it in by hand as tight as you can get it. And then once it's on there tight, go get your 15/16 socket and just tamp it down as tight as you can get it back on there. Don't go overboard, but just get it nice, firmly and tight on there. You don't want this loose. And your gasket's going to protect it from leaking and having like oil spraying everywhere. So just make sure that you put it back on the same way you took it off. Get it nice and tight. And then when you're done, clamp your air filter housing back on there, your air intake. It's just 3 clamps. 1, 2, and 1 in the back. And then that hook, like when you hook it in the back, these 3 clamps keep it secure. Yep. And then just basically take your time. You know, there's no rush. You didn't really have to do the air filter, but you were just under there, so you did it anyway. Yeah. A full commitment's what I'm dreaming of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. There it is. Man. And then there's the how it's hooked in there. Now you're up under the car. So let me go ahead and show you what you do. You put your oil pan right by where the oil pan is. You put your little drain pan underneath, and then take your wrench and try to get it off. But what you're gonna realize is the dudes at AutoZone or whoever or Jiffy Lubes put that thing on there with Gorilla Grip or something super tight. So take a hammer, wrap it in a rag. If you get leverage on your leverage on the nut, and bang that thing till it pops loose. And once it does, you can screw it out by hand. So yeah, if you got a stuck nut, just take a hammer, bang the end of your tool till you get leverage, and do that. And then again, once you unscrew that little oil plug, all the oil will drain right out into the pan. And look at that black gold go. Yep, just let it drip. It'll keep dripping for a while. Let it drip till you get like 1 or 2 drips per second. It might go for 10, 11 minutes. Go have a beer, come back. Now this is the kind of drip you want. That means it's pretty much empty. You can screw the nut back in there. Yep. When it's dripping real slow like that, there's pretty much no oil left in the pan. So go ahead and just screw it back on there by hand as tight as you can get it, and then take your wrench and tighten it down as tight as the wrench will let you do it. It's just that simple. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Get it on there tight. There it is. Make the next guy have a hard time pulling it off. That's how you do it. Okay. Up next, we're going to refill the engine with the oil. So we're going to take the 5 quarts of 5W20. I got this for like 14 bucks up to the local Walmart, and put your filter or funnel in there and just let it do its thing. This thing takes 5 9/10 quarts of oil. So that's how much I put in there. So I did 5 quarts of that, and then 9/10 of my special stuff, the mystery oil. It just makes my engine run real nice. You know, I've just been using it forever. My dad used to use it. We just use the mystery oil. And then when it's done, put everything away, screw your cap back on. And then the last final step after you screw the oil cap back on is you need to go back into the car and reset the light. So go ahead and close your hood. Make sure that you recycle your used oil. Don't just pump it, put it in the drain. And it's almost impossible to not make a mess, but try to do the best you can. To clean it up, just take some laundry detergent, douse it on the oil spot, and then spray it down with a hose. And then if you need to scrub, use a push broom. That's the best way to clean up spilt motor oil. But pour it back into the jug and just save it to take to your recycling facility. Now to reset the light, get in the car, turn the key to the first position.
1, 2,
push the accelerator 3 times.
Start it.
Then turn the car on.
And that's it.
And then that will reset the light. And there you go. That's how you do it.